Okay, welcome back to the LRTV. Right, the Oxford MIG welder. Yeah, this evening is the only time I've actually managed to spend some time working out what this MIG welder is all about. And before then, last weekend I had Neil pop round, and he was very keen to have a thrash on the welder to see what it was like. So I let him take the day, and he just did what he did, which was play with it. And I must say, guy's a good welder. He knows what he's doing. So what we'll do is show a few runs and what have you, which he's done, and then we'll see what he says about the welder at the end of the video. What you'll see here is, well, it's more classic MIG welding. There's no root weld, first of all, and this is more or less, it looks like a capping. Penetration isn't great, of course, but depending, even with a stick welder, you can have a different rod for deep penetration and then use another rod for capping. This MIG is acceptable. Well, I'd think it would be for project work. If you were doing structural or piping, then obviously the welding would be approached in a different way. But we're okay here. We're not building superstructures or ships, are we? Anyway, Neil took the challenge to do a few different positions, which he did really well. And I must admit, the guy, I've got to say this again, is a competent welder. We did try a little bit of thin steel, and the welder will do it. The amperage, sorry, should I say the voltage on this MIG welder went down enough, but the approach which you need to take each type of metal and thickness of metal is different, obviously, and we'll get onto this in later tutorials. And also, this is something we need to discuss further in the video. Neil charred up, or laid some slugs on 2mm thick steel, and you can see how much heat distortion there is. And obviously we're just playing about here. Neil decided he was going to do as the LRTV intro, which is quite groovy, to be honest with you. But you can see how bent up the 2mm steel is. Obviously, the thicker you go, the less distortion you have, and the 5mm steel that was used for stick welding, I've ground out the welds, and I'm going to do a little bit of practice with this in the vertical down position, and I'm hanging this off the bench so I don't weld the piece to the bench. And the welder is cranked up to number 2 and on 5, which is almost as much heat as you can get into it, and you can hear the weld itself. I've got an effect which is actually more like stick welding, but the weld is defective. I don't know if you can see the tram lines down there. The heat has actually made the weld shrink and crack. Not all welders are the same settings, and you can get used to one MIG welder and then you work on to another one and it won't be the same. So it's worth practicing, get things right first of all. Right, so obviously welders are excellent for coat hangers and a table when you need it to be. And the bench here is, well, I'm just practicing now this evening. I've done a really crap run, which I wasn't even looking what I was doing. It isn't worth its salt. This one, there's far too much weld involved here, and this is the wrong technique that I was employing. And I was trying to find the right way of getting a lap joint, and what I'm looking for is a similar weld to how I get when I'm stick welding, which is right. A little bit more practice and I can get rid of the undercutting that's appearing on the top here, which is not really acceptable, but as I say, I'm just practicing at this present moment in time. Best policy is to get the welds right first of all, and you can see by this engine crane, which is supplied by a certain tool company, that the welding has, well, it looks like it's been rushed on a Friday afternoon. I'll just show you which way I push the torch. There are different torch holding techniques and every welder is different, but the results are the same. It's getting the metal stuck, so it's either sealed or it's not going to break off. And after a while, if you're looking at different objects that are professionally made, you will see where things have been handmade and the weld is irregular. With practicing, obviously, if you're just starting, you want to lay down beads and then start to get your weld consistent. Like with Neil here, he stopped start, that's very consistent, and it has that ripple type of effect. That's okay. If it looks like a herringbone, obviously it's acceptable as well.
My impressions are it's a good solid machine. It's certainly heavy to move around, which is good. The wire feed control is very sensitive, but very stable. There's a nice stable arc. The trigger is very hairline, so it's very defined, which is nice. Nice little purge of gas before the wire starts feeding out. It's a really nice machine, and I think, you know what, for a home gamer, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. Runs on a 240 volt plug, couldn't be better. On the thicker stuff, it performed really well. We were welding 5mm steel on our uphill joints and our flat joints and our lap joints. Burnt in really nice looking beads. On the thinner stuff, I think it would take a bit more practice. Saying that, we were working on a bit of dirty metal, and yeah, 1mm. Was it 1mm steel?
1mm steel, yeah.
It was a bit dirty. Couldn't quite get it dialed in, but I think that's just down to practice and getting a feel of the machine.
Because basically what we're starting with is like throwing it in, and it's like, yeah, okay, you've got to get used to it first,
yeah, sure.
Do some practice runs and then work out where your settings are, and then start to work with it, whereas you're sort of like, what, yeah, you know, I mean, there's no pressure on you anyway, but I mean, this is what you, when you pick it up and you can get it quickly and you can get your settings, that makes a difference, doesn't it? Because I mean, I haven't had to mess around with it. You're like the first one to break into that.
It popped its cherry.
Popped its cherry, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know. You know, it's sort of like I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you picked it up and done it. I can see what you've done. Yeah, which, you know, it's like, oh yeah, proficient welder, that'll do. I've got to start learning to weld now.
I'm no welder by any stretch of the imagination, but you know what? I think it's a good machine. It's a good machine. I tell you what, it's certainly better than those entry-level SIP machines with the 3 switches on, and where you've got the same transformer powering the wire rollers, and you start getting a bit unstable with the arc, and then the rollers start to fluctuate, the wire feed starts to fluctuate, and then the whole thing compounds, and the next thing you know, it's a mess.
It's a mess, yeah. That's what
I tell you what, I had a look at the motor inside here. The motor for the wire feed is massive. The wire feed mechanism really looks nice.
Yeah, that will push. I think that'll push aluminium through that.
Yes.
Quite nicely.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'll go with the spool.
Right, I'm giving it the 4B seal of approval. Good machine.
Well, there you have it from the horse's mouth. It's a good machine. Incidentally, while Neil was here, he had his telephone go halfway through a weld, and it was his wife.
TD5 problems.
TD5 problems, yeah. Immobilise itself. Yeah.
In fact, yes, TD5 problems and a problem with the starter motor. Neil's done a video on it, how to replace the contacts in the starter armature switch. As for us, I've got the steel for the chassis just here, and that's the chassis just there, and I'm gonna have to go on with this and get it welded up. However, what I would like you to comment on is, what should I show you with MIG welding? Other than projects, I don't really want to get bogged down with techniques. I'll show them doing project techniques, but tell me what you want to see in the comments below, and don't forget to smash the like button and dispel all the dislikers that we seem to be accumulating just recently. Okay, cheers. We'll see you in the next video.